I don't know about you, but here it's cold, windy, and wet. And I want something hot and spicy. So I'm gonna make some creamy shrimp with some cheesy grits and smoked andouille sausage. Does that not sound great? It is gonna be amazing. So let's gather our ingredients for the grits, cheesy grits. So I'm using instant grits, but if you got regular grits, use that. You're gonna need some stock, some adobo, some black pepper, some paprika, some garlic powder, and some cheese. I like sharp cheddar cheese, and of course butter. Who doesn't want butter? Make sure you got your pen and paper for those of you who like to ask me for the ingredients. Okay, so instead of salt, you could use salt. I'm using adobo, but you know, we're trying to cut out the salt. So we got our pot ready, and I'm gonna turn on the stove. And to that, I'm going to add a couple of cups of water. You're gonna need at least 2 to 3 cups of water. Then I'm gonna add my stock to the water. Now, typically, Southerners use chicken broth, but I had this beef broth that I wanted to use first because, you know, it adds extra flavor for the grits. It's my grits. I could do with it as I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and add now 2 cups of grits. Follow the directions on your, container or on the box. And just add the 2 cups of grits to your stock. You want to pour that in very slowly. The reason you want it slowly is because you don't want any lumps. You don't want it to come out all lumpy or, you need it to be smooth. And that's why I'm using a whisk at first. But you can then start mixing it with a wooden spoon if you prefer. So again, slowly. And you might need to add more water as you move along. Now, when it comes to grits, for me, I like it kind of thick. So you'll see my grits are kind of on the thicker side, but they're very soft and smooth. So lower the heat. You want to lower the heat once it starts to cook and cover it for at least, 10 to 15 minutes. Again, follow the directions. So next I'm going to go ahead and shred my cheese. I like to buy block cheese and not the shredded cheese because here in the US, a lot of the shredded cheese has these anti-caking agents on them. So they have a little bit more, chemicals on them, so I'd rather not. So instead, I just buy the block cheese and shred that myself. So yeah, it's not as convenient as shredded cheese already done for you, but it's definitely healthier. So I have here about a cup of shredded cheese. Okay, maybe it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more than a cup. But you know what? You can't have too much cheese in this recipe. And hey, this is kind of comfort food. You don't want to eat this every day, but on that cold day and you need something, you just need that big hug. This is a great recipe. So I'm going to go ahead now and dice my scallions or spring onions. I love spring onions. And you can, eat them cooked or raw. But I like to sprinkle it on food that's already cooked. And, they don't need to be cooked for too long. So back to our grits. I think it's very cooked at this point. As long as it's not gritty, it needs to be smooth, soft. You just need to make sure you, that you're patient. Patience. Now I'm going to add some adobo seasoning to that, black pepper. At a minimum, you just need to add salt, pepper, and garlic powder. That's what you need for grits, at least my grits. Mix that really well. Again, you notice that I added the seasoning after it was really cooked. I didn't add the seasoning earlier. And now I'm adding the cheese, mix that in really well. It's got to get all nice and melted. And yeah, really mix that in well. Next, I'm adding about a tablespoon of butter. Some people here in the South actually will add a whole stick of butter to those grits. So I think I'm doing good by just adding a tablespoon of butter. And if you want to get it even more creamy, you could have cooked it with some heavy cream or heavy milk. But again, I think it's creamy enough with just the cheese and the butter. And then I'm adding some paprika for some little color. And then here come my scallions. And we're done. You just cover it and let it simmer just for a few more minutes. Okay, now for the shrimp. Here we go. We're gonna make our creamy shrimp and andouille sauce. So first ingredient, shrimp, of course. And if you have jumbo shrimp, that would be even better. These are regular. Then we're gonna need a lemon, because whenever you have seafood, you need lemon. You need the sausage. This gives so much flavor. And you're gonna need some peppers. I like some yellow and red peppers for a lot of color. And of course, we're gonna need an onion. We're gonna need our chicken stock. So definitely with shrimp, use the chicken stock. And then you're gonna need some butter and some half and half or heavy cream. And then you're gonna need some kind of flour. So in restaurants, they use regular flour, but since I cannot tolerate gluten, I'm using rice flour. Another option is cornstarch. What you need is something that's gonna thicken your gravy or your sauce. And then I need some garlic. Fresh garlic is fine, or the minced supermarket garlic is fine too. Okay, so let's go ahead and take out the seeds out of this lemon before using it on the shrimp. Make sure you wash that shrimp really well. And yeah, so the lemon helps to definitely flavor it, but it also kills bacteria, believe it or not. And then I'm adding my spice. So I have garlic spice, I have some adobo, and of course you gotta have the Cajun seasoning, Louisiana Cajun seasoning. It is a must, okay? Next, I'm coming in with some basic black pepper and some paprika. If you want more heat, you can add some cayenne pepper. Mix it well, and I drain off the extra liquid. Okay, here comes our sausage. It's a lot firmer than your typical sausage. It's so good though. It's so good. It definitely tastes Cajun. If you like Cajun food and you want that authentic flavor. I actually first had shrimp and grits years ago in Charleston, South Carolina when we moved there, and I absolutely love shrimp and grits. So I don't make it often, but when I do, Kenton and I enjoy it. We really do. So much spice and flavor. Okay, in an empty pan, I'm gonna add some olive oil because I'm trying to be a little healthy. So I'm using your extra virgin olive oil. And I'm going to go ahead and saute the shrimp. You know, shrimp doesn't cook too long. So pretty much a few minutes on either side, and then turn them around or flip them. So yeah, don't overcook them or else they'll be hard and rubbery, and we don't want that. So like 2 minutes on either side and you're good. So once one side starts to have a slight change in color, you know, you get that little ring around it, I turn them around. So I still kind of want them to have a slight translucent look. Definitely don't overcook, like I said. They're so cute, my little shrimp babies. So cute, right? Ooh, and they smell so good with all that spice. Okay, so you see, I took them out. I'm gonna put them to the side. Now I'm adding my sausage to the same pan. As you saw, I cut them up in little pieces. If I were doing bacon, or for those of you that, you know, use bacon, you could fry the bacon first and then use that grease from the bacon to fry the shrimp. So while my sausage is browning, I'm gonna go ahead and dice some peppers. So these are bell peppers, so they're not hot, but they are full of flavor and nutrition. So the red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, if you have green, you can add that too. Lots of vitamin C, and I'm also adding an onion, so a full diced onion. I love the onions and the sweetness it adds to this dish. So yes, go ahead and add that to the pan of your sausage. And ooh, you should smell this. It smells so good. It smells so good. I am getting so happy just looking at this right now. By the way, let me know in the comments how you make shrimp and grits, or how your grandmother makes shrimp and grits. It probably is different than the way I'm showing you here, but yeah, let me know in the comments how you do it different. Okay, I'm adding about 1.5 tablespoons of some garlic. So like I said, if you have fresh garlic, use that instead. But we want lots of garlic, and then I'm gonna go ahead and saute that making sure not to burn the garlic, because you know burnt garlic don't taste good. It tastes kind of bitter. So yeah, saute the garlic well, but don't burn it. And now I'm adding some hot pepper flakes because I know my husband likes it spicy. That's why he's with me, right? Okay, now I'm gonna add a tablespoon of butter to this because we are making a roux. Did you notice I pushed the meat and vegetables to the side? And now I'm adding a tablespoon of the flour. So like I said, I'm adding rice flour instead of wheat flour, but you can go ahead and use wheat flour if it doesn't bother you. So this is to make a roux, right? So, you know, you mix that in. It kind of looks a hot mess right now. It's kind of not quite right? But don't worry, it's all going to come together. So now I'm going to add my chicken stock. Here we go with the chicken stock, about a cup. And at first you're like, well, it looks kind of watery, doesn't it? It looks watery, I know. But once you keep cooking it, as you keep stirring it and cooking it, because you already have that flour in there with the butter, it's formed a roux. It's going to thicken your stew or thicken your gravy. Is this a gravy or is this a stew? Stew or sauce? Okay, let's say sauce. All right, I'm adding a cup of milk to that, or the half and half, and this is what's going to make it so nice and creamy. Now, this is completely optional. I like it creamy. You might not like it creamy. You can skip the milk. But me adding the half and half just takes it to another level. This, to me, is heaven. It is so good. At this point, you're going to let it cook for about 5 more minutes. And it's a perfect meal for a rainy, cold day like it is right now. As you know, we're all going through this Hurricane Ian, but I gotta say here in North Carolina, in my area, we have been pretty lucky that we still have power. The winds haven't been too bad, but it is cold and it is rainy. As of right this minute though, the rain kind of eased off, but we keep getting these like big gusts of wind and heavy downfall, and then it stops. So praying for everybody that's affected, that has lost power, that has lost their home. My goodness. Be safe, everyone, and may God bless you. Okay, as you can see, our sauce is not watery. It is nice and creamy, very rich. It smells amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the shrimp right back to the sauce because, as you know, the shrimp has already been cooked. And then I'm gonna top it off with some green onions or scallions. And we're done, ladies and gentlemen, we're done. I'm just adding a little paprika for some color. My grits are nice and smooth, but yes, it is a lot thicker than most would have it, but I like it thick. I like it thick. If you like yours a little runnier, then you could have cooked it with more water or more stock. Ooh, look at that. Look at all that. The shrimp, the sausage, the spicy cream. So good. So good. It will hit the spot. Let me tell you, this will hit the spot. If it's cold, if you're moody, if you just want a big hug, this is it. This is it. You got a great date coming up. You want to impress them? Make this. You got company coming. You don't have a lot of time to cook? Make this. If you try this recipe, let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I really enjoyed giving it to you or sharing it with you. And I hope to see you soon with another recipe. Bye!